did justice to the candle. Alright, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephen Forbess, and today I will be talking about becoming an organ donor. Alright. Becoming an organ donor is the difference between life and death in hundreds of thousands of people in the United States each day, each year. First off, I want to tell you a story that I was told that inspired me to become an organ donor. I was told a story about a young boy that had learned about organ donation while in high school. After high school, he talked to his mother about becoming an organ donor. His mom told him that he wasn't going to become an organ donor. She didn't approve of it. A few years later, after he turned 18, he signed up to become an organ donor. He never told his mother. On the boy's 21st birthday, he was in a fatal car crash. His mother was notified of his organs being donated. She was upset and refused to tell any of the family. 2 years later, she was notified from the place that had harvested his organs that some of the recipients of the organs wanted to meet her, and if she agreed, that they would make arrangements. She agreed, after consideration. At this meeting, she met 5 people: a person who got his liver, a person who got his eyes, a person who got his kidneys, and a person who got his tendons. All of them thanking her for having the opportunity to live again. But the last person she met was the one that changed her life forever, a boy who was only 17. She asked him, "What did you receive?" He smiled. He handed her a note and took her hand and placed it on his chest and set his heart. She hugged him as if it was her son. After the meeting, she opened the note. I wasn't told what all the note said. I was just told what the end of the note said. It said, "Mom, I know you would never understand, but how did it feel to feel my heart beat again? It may not be in my chest, but it's still the heart that I loved you with each and every day. And every day I will still continue to love you this way." The very next day, his mother forgot all of her reasons for not being an organ donor, and that day signed up to be an organ donor. Let's have a look at organ donation. Next slide. According to womenshealth.gov, organ donation is when you allow your organs or tissues to be removed or given to someone else. Organs and tissues are removed only from people that have died, not from living human beings. Transparent Living says you can express what you want in your donation. There's organ donation, in which they harvest all the organs and tissues in your body. There's body donation, where you can donate your entire body to science. Specific organ donation, such as only donating a liver. And tissue donor, where you only donate your tissues. There are people who cannot be an organ donor, though. People with certain medical conditions, such as HIV, actively spreading brain cancer, and certain severe acute infections that occur randomly. According to Mayo Clinic, by donating your organs after you die, you can save as many or improve as many as 50 lives. One person makes so much of a difference in the life of many. Imagine multiplying that by 2 people, 3 people, 10 people, 20, 50, or even 100 people. That is a lot of lives saved, and a new day for many. In a book that I read by Jan Warner, it was called Next Steps: Donating Your Organs of Your Body. If you wish to be an organ donor or to leave your body to a medical school, there are laws that you must follow. However, letting your family know about your wishes while you're still alive is always the best option. Don't make the mistake the boy made with his mother. Though the outcome turned for the best, it doesn't always. Like giving blood, the organ donation system in the United States is voluntary. In 1968, the UAGA, or the Uniform Anatomical Gift Act, was passed. The basics of this law states that if you are 18 or older, you are capable of making your own decisions regarding your body. Court-appointed guardians and certain relatives have the right to choose how to dispose of your body after or immediately prior to death if you haven't made these decisions yourself. The single and best way to prevent any of this from happening is to have an advanced healthcare directive. This refers to a number of documents you can use to express your wishes about your future in medical treatment should you become incapacitated. All right. According to womenshealth.gov, the stats in the U.S., the number of people needing a transplant continues to rise faster than the number of donors. About 4,100 transplant candidates are added to the national waiting list each month. Each day, about 77 people receive organ transplants. However, each day, as many as 18 people die waiting for a transplant. What I really want you to think about is, what if it was you, your mom, your dad, your sister, brother, son, daughter, who needed a transplant to survive, and someone else decided to become an organ donor, and because of them, that special person in your life was given another chance at life. I'm sure you would be forever grateful, and your views on being an organ donor would change forever. Organ donation benefits others, but it can also destroy families. So be sure to talk with your family about your decisions of becoming an organ donor. Next slide. Organ donation take a family toll, according to the health source. Quality about the donor's afterlife because of the body disconfiguration, stress due to family disagreements, are two reasons most people you want to let your family know before you become an organ donor. In instance, in Taiwan, some families choose to donate the deceased person's organs for transplants. They did a research analysis, and 6 months later, families were interviewed and had negative regards because of family, culture, and religion. All the family were upset. It was against their beliefs, it was against their religion, and it was against their culture. But all of them at the end still concluded that they regarded their decision as correct. They saved more than the life that they lost. The Buddhist families believe that good deeds in the mortal world increase status in the eternal world, more often cited greater appreciation of life and other positive results of their donation decisions. Many families are distressed when their loved ones die, but many of them also say that knowing that a loved one's death saved many others' lives, it helped them cope with their loss. Imagine you saved the life of someone's mother, father, daughter, son, brother, or sister. Think about a young child that will have the opportunity to grow up with their mother because you decided to become an organ donor. Organ donation is a real problem. People believe things that they hear and decide not to become donors. This also influences other bad behaviors such as organ trafficking and illegal organ harvesting. Some of the myths regarding organ donation: organ donors require mutilation of their bodies. This is not true. There's no mutilation involved. It's just as if getting an autopsy. Donor families must pay for their loved one's choice of becoming an organ donor. That's not required either. The person receiving the transplant pays for the organ that was donated. Potential donors get worse medical treatment. They don't. They don't get any. You're a living survivor, and they want you to succeed and survive, and they'll do everything they can to get you there. That was a book from Organ Transplants by Robert Penn. A new law has come into play. It's the organ request law. According to Health Source and Science News, organ request law has been passed in California, New York, and Oregon. Lawmakers are in the process of attempting to increase the number of scarce organs, requiring acute general hospitals to ask families for permission for organ donation when a patient dies. Back to trafficking and stealing of organs. Is selling body parts ethical? By Christina Fancic. You ought to know that if your loved one suddenly and inexplicably disappears and has not been heard or seen from for more than 30 days, it is possible he or she has fallen victim to body raiders and body snatchers. That's not something we deal with here in the U.S., but it is something they deal with in other regions around the country. All over Nigeria, people disappear every single day and not to be seen alive again. There are fake clinics and mortuaries doubling as slaughterhouses, raided for body parts. Everything from the liver, the tongue, the brain, kidneys, lungs, and eyes, all can be bought discreetly in the open market, just as if you were to buy chicken or beef. Body parts can sell for as much as $80 for a patch of skin, or a torso for up to $5,000. A trader of body parts can make upward of $500,000 a year. Next slide. Organ trafficking and transplantation pose new challenges each and every day. The international trade in human organs is on the increase, fueled by growing demand as well as trafficking. The rising trend has promoted a serious reappraisal of current legislation. While WHO has called for more protection for the most vulnerable people, might be tempted to sell a kidney for as little as $1,000. And we're talking about people here, everyday people willing to sell their kidney for money because of the organs being so scarce. This was brought by the Bulletin of the World Health Organization. People have to start becoming organ donors for the sake of saving someone else's life. Joyce Kelly, Hospitals and Health Network, says, what can be done to increase organ donation? In her interview, she interviewed certain people. Cheryl Lather, Director, Transplant Center of Methodist Hospital in Houston, says, education regarding organ donation is the key to increasing awareness. More than 79,000 people are waiting for an organ transplant. Each day people die waiting for this organ. David C. Gerber, Chaplain and Administration Director of All Children's Hospital, St. Petersburg, Florida, says, the keys to increasing organ donations are education and awareness. The time to consider organ donation is not at time of death. People should be able to decide for themselves and communicate their wishes before the emotional crisis surrounding death. As we just saw, understanding organ donation is the key to becoming an organ donor. Next slide. Now, how to become an organ donor. How to become an organ donor? Register with your state's organ registry. Designate your choice on your driver's license. Sign and carry an organ donor. All of which you can get directions from organdonor.gov. What if you gave a boy who never had the opportunity to love, go to college, play a sport, go on vacation, the chance to do all of these things because you decided to become an organ donor? One life lost, up to 50 saved, sounds like a pretty remarkable number to me. You do the math and you decide. Thank you. Questions?
You said that you choose between donating your organs or donating your entire body to science.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, what do you think is a better option, donating your organs or donating your body to science?
It really depends on the person. It depends on, it's something that you and your family definitely need to discuss if you ever come across that situation. It's a big thing to donate your whole entire body to science because your body's gone.
Yeah.
There's no funeral, there's no nothing, it's gone just as soon as you die, it's gone. So in my view, organ donation would probably be better, but for some people, donating the entire body is better.
I think you did what I did.
I think it's tremendously big. Just based on what I've read, there's, like I said, it's all done discreetly, and we hear about it. I've heard about it on the news. So you see it in movies.
I've seen it where they had something on where some of the actors on the down and out, they don't know the organ donor who pays for it or whatever, or they'll donate it, they want money for their
Right.
patients or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
In your research, did it state which organs are donated the most?
Which organs are donated the most? Most common, if you become an organ donor, all your organs are donated, but they have to run tests on them to make sure they're compatible and that they can actually use them. Because oftentimes most organ donors are in car wrecks and they're damaged, so only certain organs can be used.